Hey everybody, welcome back to Tenza Motorsports. Today we're going to be doing one of my favorite cosmetic modifications you can do to any car that has a projector lens. Now before we get into actually installing the LEDs and how to do that on this car, specifically an E46, whether it's a pre-facelift or a facelift, it's the same process. I want to talk about real quick which headlights you should be looking for. Let's take your best case scenario and you bought an E46 that has the projector lenses as the standard headlights, and then your high beams are the standard halogens. Now, if this is the situation you are in, no problem. Clean up the lens if it needs it. If not, replace the lenses. You can get really cheap ones, or you can buy actual Bosch replacement ones. And then I bought a set of rings, and you can get a set of rings for $50 to $60, halo rings. And then you can get a set of these demon eyes installed for about 30 bucks. So for $200, you can go through your entire headlight, and as long as everything's working well, you don't have to worry about anything. Now let's take the worst case scenario and say that you go around the front of your E46 and you do not have projector lenses. If you are going to replace headlights and you can't find a set of used BMW ones, if that's the route you wanted to go, is to basically buy a set, clean them up, and just replace some parts and make them look nice and new. If you're going to replace both headlights, I would recommend getting a set of depots. This is a depot headlight, one that we're going to be using for the E46 wagon, the S54 wagon we've been building. This actually has built-in halo rings, and they are very bright. It also has the projector lens, and these are built the exact same way as the OEM headlights. So if you want to take these apart or swap parts out and stuff like that, like let's say you bust your lens, it's all OEM parts. So if you bought lenses for a facelift, you can actually put them on your facelift depot headlights you bought for your car. Now there are a couple other things that I like to do while these headlights are apart, especially in a race car, like blacking this all out and putting some M3 stripes on the sides. We're not going to be doing that in today's video. We are going to be doing that in a future video where we are installing these. These ones that are going onto the wagon are not actually getting a set of demon eyes put in them. So for the M3 shell that we have left over, we are going to be doing some demon eyes because this car is going to be a track car. It's going to be set up very similar to my 330. Now, as you can see here, my 330 has demon eyes, it has halo rings, and it has the M3 stripes on the side. Today we're just going to be doing the demon eyes, but while you're in here, you want to make sure you do everything all at once. You don't want to constantly take these apart, especially if you've got an older set. If you've got a newer set, you don't have to be as careful because it can cycle, being clipped on and off a bunch of times. But if you've got an old set, you gotta be really careful because these plastics are getting to be 20 years old now, and if the lens goes on and off all the time, you'll eventually break it. So kind of get a list of everything you want to do so that when you take your lens off the first time, you can pull it apart, get everything done that you wanted to have accomplished, and then get right back out of it so you can close it up and not have to worry about it again. Now, I've had really good luck with IJDM toy halo rings. That's what this headlight will eventually get. So once we're done installing these demon eyes and I actually get everything put back together, we're gonna be leaving the lenses off, and then I'll just wrap it with a little bit of saran wrap to keep it protected. But for today, we're just doing the demon eyes, and then I'm gonna be leaving the lenses off. I've been getting tons and tons and tons of requests. How did you do demon eyes? And how did you do it for $30? That's the next thing we gotta talk about before we start pulling these apart. These were $30 when I bought them. Now these LEDs we're going to be using are actually a couple years old at this point. I bought them, like I said, they were $30, and we'll get to that in a second. And we bought it for a car project, and they ended up not getting put on that car, and then they've just been sitting in my toolbox for a long time. And I've been wanting to do this video because everybody keeps saying, how did you do your demon eyes? But I didn't have a car to show this off on. Since this headlight is going back into a race car, this would probably be the best way to show everybody. If we put them onto the wagon, they'd never get used because this is going to somebody who isn't really into the car scene like that. This, obviously, you can't drive around with these on. This is more of a gimmick, just kind of have some fun. If you're at a car show or if you're autocross or a track or something, you can flick them on. It's just for fun. They used to be $30, and that's what we paid for these. They've actually gone down. They're $20 now, and there's actually some other features that they've added to them. So one of the things that I noticed on the new ones is that you can actually plug these in. There's a plug at the end, and you can actually connect them. We're not going to be doing that. In fact, there's actually scissor lines on these, and we're going to be cutting off about a third, because by the time you wrap this around on the inside of your projector, that's about all you're going to need. And it shows where to cut these, and I would not suggest cutting them anywhere else, but make sure that you get the ones that say max on them. I'll show a couple pictures here. These are the ones to get. If you get the ones that are not as bright as these, they won't show up during the day. And for $20, this was a steal. At $30 when we were doing this, we thought that was a really good price. Now, when you do these and wire them up, all we have done is just ran these into the car and then just put them on a toggle switch with power and ground. And then we have it on a constant power, so whether the car is on or off with the key, whether it's an accessory or on or completely off, you can flick that toggle switch and the demon eyes will turn on. Disassembling these headlights is very simple. There's no baking, there's no glue, nothing like that. So we're gonna start by taking off this trim piece here. Once that trim piece is released, you can see these clips, there's a couple on the top here. You'll just pull these back and the lens will slide out. 3 on the top, 3 on the bottom, and then just 1 on this side. There isn't one over here. Once we're at this point right here, this inside bezel just pops straight towards us. Once we get to this point, you need to flip the headlight upside down, remove the high beam, and then unplug the xenon bulb. Then turning these to the right, we'll kick this forward and then over. These are threaded, we'll be turning them to the right. Once they run all the way out of their threads, it will actually allow us to pull this assembly out. You'll hear a bit of a popping noise when you know it's done. All right, and then to get to this point, you've got a couple of these Torx bits. They are being held on. There's just 3 of them, and you can see that's 1, 2, and 3. And I was going to explain how to pull this apart, but it's kind of hard to show it until it's out. Basically, there's this section right here, and that section right there, and that's where these 2 tabs will grab, those 2 right there. And all you have to do is reach back behind there with a pick or a flat blade, and you'll just pry those off. One side, then just hold it, and then do the other side, and this piece will come off. Before you put your headlight back together, make sure you clean all this off because this will get covered in fingerprints, and you don't want that. Now this is the furthest you have to disassemble your headlight to get the demon eyes to run. This is the key right here. It's not super difficult, so we'll grab the LEDs and I'll show you what to do. So this projector lens is being held in by 4 tabs. There's one here, and there's 2 on the other side. Now the downside of this is it won't let our LED strip sit all the way up at the end, but it doesn't need to do that, so it's gonna sit right in this area. And the sticky side will be out, and then the lights will be pointed in. So what I normally do is I take this wire and I'll run it through one of these holes so that this end piece can sit flat. So let's run that through. The only other thing you got to make sure of is to keep clear of these slits right here. Again, that is for the bezel that sits on the front. It's okay to have the LEDs run across this, but what you don't want to do is run like if you ran the wire through here. You wouldn't be able to do that because then the bezel won't be able to click on using its original mount. All right, so here it is in its final form. I've just been testing it with a 9-volt. When you hook it up to the car, it will be a lot brighter than you see here. I think that looks absolutely awesome. It looks super mean when they're on the car. So hopefully this helps anybody who's trying to do this project. I think what held me back the most when I was first doing this project is nobody online would show where to put the LEDs. And all you do is you put them on the inside of your projector housing, that metal piece that holds the lens. You point them facing in and that's it. And then you just run the wire out the back, put it to a power source, whether it's a toggle switch or whatever you want to do, and that's it. So I hope everybody enjoyed today's content. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down in the comment section below. Check out our Instagram where we are doing a giveaway at 10,000 subscribers, giving away a $100 gift card to ECS Uni and a couple other things, first, second, and third place. Also check out our Patreon if you want to see early ad-free access at just $1 a month, and if you want to support the channel more than just leaving a like and subscribing. Appreciate everybody for watching. Loads of E46 content to come. Stay tuned. Till next time, everybody. We'll see you in the next video.